Welcome to Central Georgia Focus. This week, I'm your host, Raymond Tubb. Well, the Robbins Museum of Aviation is located right next to the Air Force Base there. Today, we're going to talk about how the museum is meeting its long-standing mission of successfully preserving U.S. Air Force history, while also at the same time providing an open door to education and technology. We're going to learn how the museum continues to inspire the future, honoring our veterans, while bringing the community together. And our guests today are Dan Rhodes, the president and CEO of the Museum of Aviation Foundation, and Melissa Rayburn, who is the National STEM Academy Deputy Director. And we'll start off by giving you each a chance to tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll begin with you, Dan.
Absolutely. First off, thank you so much for having us here. We are absolutely appreciative of having the opportunity to talk about the amazing facility and the amazing team at the Museum of Aviation. My name is Dan Rhodes. Been there about 4 months now. Was over the Chief of Operations at the 21st Century Partnership. Still doing some work with them, but my full-time position is at the museum and absolutely having a blast there.
And you actually have a Navy background.
I do indeed, yes sir. As a matter of fact, I started out in the Army. I did 3 years in the Army, did another 24 in the Navy, and then 10 years as a federal civilian. So I've been in all three services. It's a little unusual, but there you have it.
And Melissa, how about your background?
Yeah, so I have started about 2 years ago at the National STEM Academy, and so I primarily focus on kindergarten through 5th grade, and now I've opened that up for kindergarten through adult, and so really diving into how to build the next workforce with our STEM.
Well, for those of us that have been around, it's been an amazing transformation to watch that base grow. Like, I remember when it was, I think, basically like 2 little single wides and a hut basically out there, which some of those still house, I think, some of the archaeological exhibits on the base. But it's been amazing to watch it grow into a world-class museum and facility.
Yes, sir. It's a wonderful location. Got a great team as well. The community has put so much into that. Remember, this is not a federal facility. It's not a federal organization. While it's on Robbins Air Force Base property, this has been wholly supported by the community coming together to help support the museum and develop it over time. Been there 40 years. We started in 1984, and it's amazing what this community has invested into the museum and where it's going into the future.
It's been neat too to watch the museum grow into, it's not just a static thing. Of course, you've got all the interaction, and it's not just a parking lot for old planes. There's much more to it. And Melissa, you kind of bring that to life with the community outreach component, which is so important. You hear it all the time, STEM, 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 STEM,
yeah.
The science and technology and engineering and math, and the importance of getting the workforce of the future, especially with the Air Force Base, prepared. And talk about the role the museum is taking there.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. So we have served about 50,000 kids just in the last year, and so we host all different programs. We have field trips, we do Saturday STEM labs, we do homeschool STEM labs, so trying to provide as many opportunities as we can for children in the Middle Georgia, Central Georgia, rural areas to get them engaged and start building that workforce for the future. We work on things like artificial intelligence, circuits, programming, robotics, just doing our best to connect, make that community connection and build the future.
And we're going to go more in depth into that in a little bit, but wanted to circle back to the museum though, because it is an amazing collection, and I think maybe people sometimes I remember they used to do be a tourist in your own backyard thing. I think sometimes people kind of take local attractions. It's like, I'll get there eventually. But I wish everybody could get a chance to go out there because A, it's free, and B, just an amazing amount of history and aircraft. I'll never forget being at a luncheon out there, because you also host events. And I'm sitting right next to a Blackbird, which for many years was top secret, and yet sitting right by it having lunch.
In fact, that Blackbird is a world record holder. It's the fastest aircraft ever. So we have quite a few displays out there. A lot of those, some of them in fact, came straight from the desert, from the war zone, came in, and we put them on display. They still have the dust and the dirt from being overseas. All of our displays are amazing. We've got quite a few different displays going all the way back in history, but the cool thing, and you highlighted this, the cool thing about each and every one of those is that was best of breed at its time. That demonstrated innovation demonstrated what the American people could do in times of conflict and even in times of peace. What we're now doing is taking what they've done in the past in that mechanical engineering and those type of innovations and bringing forward to that today and trying to get our kids excited about those type of innovations that have happened to inspire for the future. And that's exactly what we do. We are focused on inspiring, educating, innovation, and building that history moving forward.
And Melissa, that's, I guess, again, where the STEM education, the various camps that you have all play a role. It's one thing to talk about science and technology and engineering math, but to actually have these amazing, almost futuristic craft, and also to see the old school planes, a big canvas stretched over balsa wood, to see the and the growth between those two in less than a century has got to be inspiring for the students.
Absolutely. The majority of our STEM labs are housed in the Century of Flight building, and so that's a lot of our last century, right? And so we get the kids on the floor, and it's not just a tour experience going necessarily through the history and the date that they were created, but they're moving around and getting them engaged and critically thinking. We get to a military vehicle, the MRAP, and we like to ask them, where do you think this was? And based on the color of it, they're critically thinking, going, probably the desert, right? And so getting them to understand how to build things and engineer things to fit in a certain time period or a certain location, getting that critical thinking.
And you even get into displays on communications and things like that. You don't think about the fact that you move an army into a desert and they're going to need internet service, they're going to need phone service, they've got to have radio communication to each other, it's all got to be secure. And
what does that vehicle have that can knock out the enemies, right? And so they really enjoy learning about that and how to connect it.
One of the great displays, and I'll add to that a little bit, is an EW display. Dixie Crows, our local chapter, has helped to be able to put that in, and it shows how electronic warfare is so important and critical to today's needs. And we're continuing to work on that to develop it out, put in new technologies, and really demonstrate where a historical display can lead things into the future. So that's a great one that kind of highlights that bridge between the technologies of the past and where we're taking things in the future.
Yeah, good point. And kind of like Melissa was talking about, you not only need your stuff to work, but you're going to try to undermine the enemy's ability to work electronically as well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yep.
What kind of award-winning displays do you have out there? Because I know the museum has received awards for a number of years.
Well, the SR-71 is certainly one of the award winners that we have.
That's the old Blackbird plane we were talking about.
That's the old Blackbird plane. There's a lot of capabilities out there that have won awards over the years. One of the things that we're focused on now is making sure that we're building the displays to win awards in the future. Certainly, we're part of the Georgia Historical World War II Trail. We want to bring people out to see all of the displays that we have, and then to encourage people to go out and see the other displays that are out there across the state to pull that together. Yes, sir.
Well, we'll go in much more into depth into what you can find at the museum and when you head out there as we continue on Central Georgia Focus. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus. We're talking about the Robbins Museum of Aviation, how it contributes to the community, and we're joined by Dan Rhodes, the president and CEO of the Museum of Aviation, and Melissa Rayburn, who is the National STEM Academy Deputy Director. And it takes, we've talked about it, so much to keep this museum vibrant. It's constantly growing, constantly changing, keeping up with the times. And again, it's able to do that and have what's there with free admission. And so it takes a lot of community partners to make that happen.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And one piece to that is certainly the education component. So the partnerships that we're developing, obviously it starts with Robbins Air Force Base. We're very closely aligned. We're on their property. So we want to make sure that we're always working to support Robbins Air Force Base. City of Warner Robins, that's the host for our organization. We're a really big partner, and in fact, we're working to develop out some capability that we can put in the mayor's new innovation center that she's developing, and we're working together to see what that will look like in the future. Another one that we're developing, and this is going to create some summer classes that Melissa will talk a little bit about in just a second, with Middle Georgia State University, Central Georgia Technical College, as well as Mercer. So we're developing out partnerships across the region, because one of the things that we realized is not everybody can get out to the Museum of Aviation. We're going to bring some of the Museum of Aviation to them, embedded into Macon Bib, so that we're developing out that capability locally, and we get people interested where they live.
Of course, we are getting close to summer camp season. It'll be here before we know it. I know it's the dead of winter now, or we're kind of moving into spring, but it's amazing how quickly the summer gets here. I'm already seeing camp registrations happening. Talk about the outreach and what happens with the summer camp at Robbins Air Force.
Of course,
or at the Robbins Museum, I should say.
Yeah, so we have 5 weeks of summer camps coming up, and they accept from kindergarten through 11th grade at this time. And one is Innovation Station, we have chemistry, we have space and robotics, so we have a lot of different themes. You can sign up for individual weeks, you don't have to commit to the full summer, although some kids do, right? STEM is just fun.
Yeah.
But it's getting them hands-on opportunities. It runs in the morning from 9:30 until noon, and it really gets them immersed, hands-on, critically thinking. We get down on the hangar floor to talk about some of the innovation things that we have seen down there, and just really getting them immersed and learning.
And you don't only teach kids,
Right.
you also teach the teachers. Talk about how that program
We do,
works.
yes. So we focus on kids, but we also focus on college-age students, adults. So we have educator workshops. We run them once monthly, and we're trying to focus on things like 3D printing, AI, mechanicals, any kind of technology to help advance. What do they need right now? What do teachers need assistance on? Is it keeping up with the current technology? College-age students working with the AI, we're building out a wonderful AI lab in our Eagle building. And it's going to be a common space for the community that people can come and actually utilize our equipment. We can support them with what they need.
Yeah, there's so much talk about AI and the disruption that it's potentially going to cause in the workplace and the economy, but it also creates opportunities, and that STEM education, I'm sure, positions the workforce, or the kids are going to be the workforce of tomorrow to have a better chance of success.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's taking where we are right now and building upon it, and knowing that things are constant change, right? That's the one consistent thing, is it's always going to change. And so it's keeping up with that. What will be the careers of tomorrow? Will they look like today? And how do we give the kids, the educators, the college students, the tools that they need to build upon and keep up, so that they're moving ahead of the ball instead of running after.
So if I could add to that a little
Sure.
bit too. So the federal government recognized that this is a problem. And one of the things that Georgia won is the Georgia AIM, Georgia Artificial Intelligence and Manufacturing grant that came, that's $65 million that came to the state of Georgia. Middle Georgia is got some of that. 21st Century Partnership is executing some of it. CGTC has some. They built out a robotics lab at the Vector Center that'll be able to support that. The Museum of Aviation was just awarded as a sub-awardee on that as well, specifically for that AI lab that is being developed. That will be the core, but again, we're taking that and embedding it across the region so that everybody has access to that neat capability.
Yeah, we've talked about some of the exhibits there. You've got everything from the old biplanes up to, we talked about the Blackbird, the SR-71 specifically, which is basically a glorified spaceship. It flies way up above the atmosphere. It was a spy plane and just about everything in between as well. I guess give me a mini tour of the museum. You've got several big buildings there. You've got the small archaeological area too that pays homage to the time around the base before we had European settlement in the area.
Sure. If you come into the Eagle building, so that is our main building, our welcome center, our gift shop is in there. In the ceiling, or on the floor, we have an F-15. In the ceiling, we have an old biplane as well as a new Predator. So the MQ-1, I believe, is what we have.
That's a large drone.
It's a large drone, exactly. But that is where technology is going. So you can see the past, the present, and the future all in one location. We have some neat displays all throughout that whole floor. But if you then move down to the World War II hangar, you can see all of the types of stuff that we had from the B-17, which is about 99% restored. C-47 is up in the ceiling, where we got a brand new one that just came in, and our marketing folks are really excited about that one, because that one actually flew during D-Day.
Okay.
And they're working on a story, so I'll let them tell that story as well. A whole bunch of other exhibits in that hangar. And then you can go into the Century of Flight hangar, which has a variety of weapon systems, from the MRAP all the way to the SR-71, a Global Hawk, which is another drone that's hanging in the ceiling, slightly higher than our U-2. Northrop Grumman folks will love that.
There you go.
Along with a helicopter that was flown in the desert. Again, still has the dust and dirt in it. And then you can go up to the Newtown hangar, which is kind of that Vietnam era weapon systems, and we have our flooring in a lot of that is designed to look like the types of runways that they would use back then. Really, really neat weapon system in there as well. So a variety of the types of systems that we're offering, and hopefully we'll work over the next 10, 20 years to build some more hangars to expand that out over time.
I know when my son was young too, he enjoyed they had a snack bar area and a simulator as well that the kids could ride in.
The simulator is fantastic, so we still have one there, and I'm now working with the VR company to see what we can do in the future to get some new technology in there and really refresh that.
And what are some of those exhibits that you've got coming up in the near future that you have planned?
So the EW1 is our biggest one. We're working with Dixie Crow to be able to expand that out. We're also working with one of the new, brand new EW units that's at Robins Air Force Base to see. Now, obviously, they're highly classified and doing a lot of really cool stuff that they can't tell anybody about, but they're going to have ideas on how we can present a lot of that within the EW display. So we can explain to the public what EW is. Most people are, okay, so that's cool. What is EW? Well, EW is everything. From your phone to your automobile, everything has an electronic signature. How do you then take that, exploit it, protect our own troops and units, and those are the types of things that we want to try and develop so that it makes it understandable for the public.
That sounds great. Well, we've got much more to talk about, including some other upcoming events that you can get involved with the Robins Air Force Base Museum, and we'll have much more in just a moment. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus. We are talking to Dan Rhodes and Melissa Burgess with Melissa Rayburn. Sorry, I don't know. I just pulled a name out of thin air there. Melissa Rayburn with the Robins Museum of Aviation, and a lot of events going on, because again, we talked about how so many of the events are free or the camps are made where anybody that wants to attend can attend in many cases, and so that takes community partners and it takes money. And so one of the great benefactors through the year was the late Robert Scott, who wrote God Is My Co-Pilot. You still have the golf tournament in his honor every year, and that's coming up.
Yes, sir. It sure is. We're looking forward to that. We have a great team that is planning that event. And certainly encourage everybody to go to our website to look up the details for that upcoming event, as well as all of our events, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about some of those. But the problem, of course, is that we have to make sure that we're working in the community, getting those volunteers engaged, and bringing them to the museum so that they can be a part of it. I mean, we've got more than 300 volunteers that do all of our programming. That's everything from the education capability to restoring aircraft, to taking people on tours, to making sure that the grounds are kept up. But it takes every one of them. And of course, those people matriculate through. It is a volunteer, so we would like to make sure that we're encouraging additional people to come out. And even if you can't volunteer, but you'd like to support, we would love anything from $1 to thousands. Whatever you can support with, we would absolutely enjoy and are very appreciative of everything that the community has done over time to make sure that that everybody is supporting that museum. There are tons of events that we have that we're going to be able to focus on in the future. We have the auction that's going to be coming up. We've got the National STEM Benefit, where we are focused on the National STEM Academy and the work that they do and try and get some additional funding for them. We have our Festival of Trees that's going to be coming up end of the year, and then we'll be into 2026. Hard to believe.
I know, wheel keeps on turning, as they say.
Absolutely, yes sir.
Talk about what it means to the children that do get to attend that camp and to get the learning and the benefits from it.
Yeah, absolutely. We adore seeing them come through, and a lot of them that come on field trips, they maybe have never touched a robot before, and so they come and you walk them through the steps, and all of a sudden they see it move for the first time, and their face lights up. And if you could just capture that moment for every single kid, it's awesome. They do the same thing with circuits. They're putting together circuits, and the first time it lights up or it makes a sound, the expression that they have, and you can see the pure joy, and they see the capabilities that are out there, and then their wheels start turning, and they start thinking, well, how do I do this at home? How do I, we had a little girl over the weekend. We hosted a STEM day, Georgia STEM Day. Had about 100 students, 4th through 6th grade, and a little girl at the end of the robotics rotation said, I've got a real world problem. The cars sit out in the sun, and I want to push a button, and it just wraps my car for me. And I said, that's great, develop it, And so they're seeing, what can I do? They're looking for the problems, and now they know that they can be the fixers of those problems. They can provide the solutions.
It gets engineering down from being just a vague, big concept to it's like, oh wait, I'm just solving problems.
Yes, and nobody make that invention. That's hers.
So the great part about that is this is that robotics capability, that artificial intelligence. 21st Century Partnership has been a fantastic coordinator and partner in developing out these capabilities. They're one of the ones that paid for a lot of the robotics kits that they're using that are getting those kids excited. So we're certainly appreciative there. We would love anybody else in the community that would like to partner on those type of things.
I'd love to tack on to that as well, is that they also sponsor the Middle Georgia STEM Alliance. They also help partner with us. And so for the educator training, we have educator training on robotics. It's called Middle Georgia Robotics Institute. It runs June 2nd through June 4th. And it breaks up by those that are working with younger grades, those are working with middle grades. But they come and they just get immersed in 2 days worth of training, depending what grade levels they're working with. And we give them a goodie bag full of resources that they can take back to their classroom and really build upon how to bring robotics into every lesson. It doesn't have to be just teaching coding, all of that.
Well, we've got a website because we've talked about so much. So if you want to find out more, you can go to the museumofaviation.org. You see it right there on your screen. They've got all kinds of information on the museum itself. You can find out about the camps and the different upcoming events. And we've got about 30 seconds. Any final thoughts?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. We could talk for another hour.
Exactly.
Just on the,
There's so much out there.
There is. It's amazing. We appreciate everybody's support. Would love for you to have come out to the museum and visit us. Certainly visit the website. Come to our events. We appreciate you.
Yeah, if you've been thinking about getting out there and haven't yet, or if it's been a while since you've been out there, go out, check it out, and we appreciate you checking out this program as well. We will see you back here next time for Central Georgia Focus. Thanks so much for being here.